Hello. Um, I decided to choose an obscure topic here for my final presentation. My name is Justin Freeman. So hopefully you'll enjoy this little presentation that I'm doing for our final project. Basically, in this exercise, I wanted to imagine myself working for C.F. Martin and Company. They're a guitar maker. Um, and we want to find out how to get more traffic on social media and market our products. But first, we need to see what's being discussed, see the reaction, sentiment, and the users who are talking about the guitars. So, a few questions here is, what is most talked about in social media if there's a mention of the word guitar? What are most talked about subjects related to the guitar? And who are the most influential users? Now, what I have done is we'll use Twitter, the Twitter API, to examine business intelligence of social media to understand what everyone's talking about. So to identify the data, I use Spider, and I just put in an image here in my Jupyter notebook. And I search for keywords of Martin guitar, guitar, and acoustic. So let's extract the JSON formats and upload to Jupyter Notebook. I just wanted to check my pandas working directory here. And so this is the output that I get. All kinds of data from Twitter. Okay. So next, we're going to see how many tweets I've gathered, and it looks like 1,368. Now, I let this run for about 45 minutes or so. And so I think it's a fair amount. Just looking at the first two tweets and the metadata. And next we'll look at the first 5 tweets only, and that'll kind of give you a picture just to make sure that the data was recorded correctly. And I've starting to parse out the JSON format into something that's more manageable. I looked at the timestamps. The timestamps did record. So 1,368 tweets. Now it's time to clean and process the data. So first thing I want to do is get screen names and see if there's a lot of location information that is listed with the Twitter users. You can see some there, Cairo, Egypt, Argentina. Some of them have none. And unfortunately, that seems to be the majority of it, but we'll get to that in a second. So I want to save all the screen names, and then I want to display the screen name and the tweet. And this will have, if it's a retweet, if it's an original tweet, etc. But we'll get to a more manageable platform or way of reading those. So I want to set up lists for text organization just to kind of organize my data, and I'll build it into a data frame. So here's what it looks like in a data frame. You can see that latitude, longitude, place type, etc. There's really not a lot there as far as the location data, but now we'll move on to hashtags. And we found that there are 160 hashtags, 785 original tweets. Okay, and this is the created at for all the tweets. And then what we're going to do is look at the time zone, and we're going to convert it to U.S. Central Time Zone. So these would have appeared at 16:01 and 29 seconds. So that would be 4:01 as when this when this tweet was created. So just to kind of give us a time sample, like I said, about 45 minutes. Here's the number of tweets per minute. And I wanted to visualize this trend, and it looks, it's not a smooth representation. It jumps around quite a bit, which I found rather interesting. So, you can definitely see there's some peaks and valleys in the usage by minute on how many tweets are updated on Twitter. So we have 1,245 unique users in the data. but I want to focus on the most common. I found the most common. Here's the most common users and visualize it. And here's where we looked at the geographical location. Is there any geographical information enabled? Only about 500 of them did. 865 of them did not. So we're going to move on to extracting all the users, and I want to find the kind of the mentions uh, or the responses to Twitter users. And here are the most visible users. Okay, obviously we can see Spit Balloon, Evil Swift, Real James Woods, which I believe James Woods is an actor. Interesting, he's commenting on guitars. Next, we'll look at the location and to see what other location data we can pull. Again, there's some of them, Argentina, British Columbia. I'm not sure exactly what the yo is, but so looking at some URLs, these can pop up and can give us some indication too, as far as what folks are talking about, what they link to, etc. Now we're looking at the tweets, and we're going to look at the followers and friends, who has the most followers and friends, and we're going to visualize that. Now we're going to look at content. Obviously, if guitar, acoustic, playing, song, love, hero, one, and interestingly enough, a competitor is picked up in the most common identifiers, which is really interesting. So we know that there's a lot of folks out there currently talking about Ibanez guitars. So that'll give us some insight. Popular woods associated with guitar are also, playing, song, solo bass, love, much, etc. And then we visualize that. And next we're going to look at the hashtags. What are those that are talking about guitars putting in as hashtags? What are they um, relating that to? And so there's some different topics here. So, treasure, J.I. Hoon, indie music, acoustic, etc. So then we'll move on to hashtag association analysis. Multiple hashtags or some. And we just kind of look to see there's really not a lot of fluctuation. Many of them put 2 hashtags in their tweets. And wanted to move on to sentiment analysis. This kind of gives you an idea of the overall, if it's positive, negative, neutral. What's interesting is looking at the compound scores. Vader shows that there's 638 positive, 531 neutral, and 199 that are negative in compound score. Here's what the most negative tweet said. Said that broke, so maybe they feel they can't afford a guitar, or, don't have nice equipment. The positive tweets are talking about, bluegrass country songs can truly be great. Peaceful acoustic, they're gorgeous. A friend, very talented young man. So that's interesting. Overall, it's a 0.184. So we'll move on to the network side of it. And looking at the network analytics, we're going to look at mentions and try to analyze those. And I'll show you the visuals for these in a moment. And a co-hashtag network, we looked at those. So what we're getting out of this, here is just a recap of some of the visuals. So hashtags, we see the most popular hashtags. We see some of the most visible users, some of the most popular words, I guess these are the visible users. And what I did is I used if on who um, to break both of my visuals down on my network analysis. Obviously, here are some of the most visible users related to the subject of guitars. So quite an interesting visual there. Also, on the uh, co-hashtag, we're looking at the word guitar, and you can see acoustics there. It's strongly linked. There are a lot of different um, words, ministry, Beverly Hills music, now playing, different closely related subjects, closely related hashtags to the guitar. So we know who is most active, who's most visible in the overall settlement of the subject. So what that tells us is that it puts our company in a unique position to distribute maybe promotional materials or demos to visible and highly active users with large followings. Just to kind of create buzz, have a more of a presence. More people are going to see what we post or what they post about our product. We can also see the network in Twitter and see how many users and key identifiers are related to the guitar. The acoustic, since that was one of our words that we searched, it does seem that it's highly related to the guitar and those things that are closely related to the guitar. So whether it's acoustic, electric, or whatever the case may be, it looks like we've identified certain users that might be in a position where we could help them and they could help us. So I hope you enjoyed just the overview. Please review the code and the Jupyter Notebook if you have any questions. I appreciate it, and thanks for your time.